approximately 6 months before the insurrection at the Capitol. Seemingly unrelated, even though we know it is all connected, the co-moderators of the Unitarian Universalist Association, Alandria Williams and Mr. Barb Grieve, charged a commission with a regular periodic review of Article II of the UUA Bylaws. It's more exciting than that sounds. They charged the commission to make the implicit theology explicit and to ground their work in the love we understand to be the center of our faith. We've been overdue for this review of Article II, making tiny edits to patch them together, tinkering with our principles and sources, debating on the General Assembly floor who is actually in this circle of love and liberation. Article 2 is where the who are we of Unitarian Universalism lives. It's the covenant, it's why we exist, where we come from, and who we hope to be. It's currently where one would look to find the principles and the sources. After 2 years of drafts and feedback sessions with UUs all over the country, the Article II Commission gave its report and proposed revision to the UUA Board of Trustees this week. There's a lot to love in it. Strong language that calls us to action, like the purpose of the Unitarian Universalist Association is to actively engage its members in the transformation of the world through liberating love. I'd like to read you section C2.2, which is the values and covenant. As Unitarian Universalists, we covenant, congregation to congregation and through our association, to support and assist one another in our ministries. We draw from our heritages of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. Inseparable from one another, these shared values are, and then there's an image. This image is of a chalice with an overlay of the word love over the flame, with 6 outstretched arms that create a circle around each of the core values and form a 6-petal flower shape. Each arm is a different color, and clockwise they are interdependence, equity, transformation, pluralism, generosity, and justice. Interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence. We covenant to cherish Earth and all beings by creating and nurturing relationships of care and respect. With humility and reverence, we acknowledge our place in the great web of life, and we work to repair harm and damaged relationships. Pluralism. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. We covenant to learn from one another in our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect. Justice. We work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. We covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. We support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decisions. Transformation. We adapt to the changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages, never complete and never perfect. Generosity. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. We covenant to freely and compassionately share our faith, presence, and resources. Our generosity connects us one to another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality. Equity. We declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness. We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. None of those were my words, but I think most of them were pretty good. I encourage you to read the full document, but the revision and also, I encourage you to read the full document, the revision, but also the rest of the report to the board. For those of you on Zoom, Emma is going to put the link in the chat, and you can click it and read it whenever you like after the service. And I'll send it in the email announcements this coming Friday, or sooner if you send me an email telling me you want it. Honestly, this proposed revision may be contentious among Unitarian Universalists, though the Commission has been profoundly transparent, providing regular updates on social media, soliciting feedback from the public on drafts, and visibly making edits based on the feedback they have received. I still see grumbles on Facebook that it isn't what some of us want, especially because we've called them values instead of principles. It's not a done deal. The board of the Unitarian Universalist Association will hold forums in advance of this June's General Assembly when delegates from the congregations as well as the UUA board itself can propose revisions to the draft. The General Assembly will vote on the draft and proposed revisions. A majority vote sends the final draft to the 2024 General Assembly for a final vote, which requires a 2/3 majority to make a significant change to our bylaws. We're still in the middle of this work. The work is changing hands from the Commission to the UUA board and the delegates from the congregations at this point. Here we are, asking ourselves, how do we want to be defined? And a dedicated commission has proposed that we define ourselves by love, interdependence, pluralism, justice, transformation, generosity, and equity, and covenant to live into those values. for the ways that we sometimes disagree as Unitarian Universalists about how to do that, I'm not worried, because I know that we need one another, and that's a good thing.